As a fear-based strategy emerges as the prevailing wind beneath the wings of this transition of presidential powers, well, that foul gust only portends to even more anti-democratic things to come. But as Katty Kay outlines in detail from our compelling clip from MSNBC earlier today, the incoming Republican Senate leader may be furrowing Trump's bushy brow by scheming to curtail some of those most absurd names that he's proposing to appoint to vital cabinet positions so that they might effectively decimate the departments that they will dutifully head, because, of course, that's the mandate of the cat's whisker majority of the American voting public, or so goes the cover. Now, as you're about to see in a moment, MSNBC contributor Katty Kay suggests that there is a great amount of consternation among Republicans about several of the president-elect's other cabinet picks, and noted that former Representative Tulsi Gabbard, slated to head the Department of National Intelligence, appears to be at the top of that list. Tulsi Gabbard, nothing to see here, folks.
Do you think Assad is our enemy?
Assad is not the enemy of the United States because Syria does not pose a direct threat to the United States. Whether it is Syria or any of these other countries, we need to look at how their interests are counter to or aligned with ours.
Are Assad's interests aligned with ours?
What are Assad's interests?
Assad seems interested in the slaughter primarily of his own people.
Those statements made by Tulsi Gabbard more than 5 years ago are putting her under the spotlight today as she meets with senators on Capitol Hill to drum up support as President-elect Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence. The former Congresswoman is also drawing renewed scrutiny for her 2017 visit to Syria to meet with Bashar al-Assad, who fled the nation yesterday after rebel forces seized the Syrian capital. Our Scott McFarlane is on Capitol Hill for us tonight. Scott, good to see you. So tell us a little bit about who Gabbard is meeting with on the Hill today, and how is that trip to Syria and her comments about Assad playing? Are they having any impact on her confirmation?
We pressed her as she walked down that hallway about her thoughts on Assad's fall in Syria. Because of those allegations, she is close to Assad or has supported Assad. She walked past without answering. When she came back out, we asked her other questions, and she answered in a way that didn't directly respond to the issue of Assad, just saying that she supports what Donald Trump says about Syria and about Assad. She will no doubt be asked these questions during these one-on-one meetings. But, Caitlin, the premise here remains the same, whether it's the defense secretary nominee, the FBI nominee, or this intelligence nominee.
Okay, let's check out today's clip as Katty Kay suggests there may well be an underlying strategy to a possible shell game of Senate opposition to some of Trump's picks, all the while trying to protect those very senators under those very shells. You'll check out her rundown. Here we go, coming up. Of the senatorial sleight of hand that may well stave off the worst collection of proposed villains of democracy since, my bad, sorry, wrong rogues gallery. This one is almost as bad, but let's let Katty Kay, MSNBC correspondent, run it down from earlier today.
The prospect of having somebody like Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard in two of the most important foreign policy positions in America and the world, it has to be chilling for our allies and also for many Republicans on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, the world has not got calmer since Donald Trump was elected. I think that is a fair assessment. I had a chance on Sunday night to be at an event here in Washington. There were a whole bunch of senators there, and I asked a couple of them, what they thought of Tulsi Gabbard's pick, given what had happened in Syria literally over the weekend, hours beforehand, and they kind of rolled their eyes and just, shook their heads in some kind of dismay. There are Democrats amongst them. This is going to be a challenge for them, and we don't know what more material might come out of Syria in connection with Tulsi Gabbard. Are there documents there that could be damaging to her? She is somebody who has, on several occasions, sided with the point of view of America's adversaries. She was already under scrutiny as DNI, but now I think the events in Syria have put her even further under scrutiny, and the timing of that's going to be very interesting. But you've got these other controversial picks as well. My understanding is that John Thune, the senator from North Dakota, has to think, how can I protect some of my senators. He can't have all the same senators go out and say no against all of the picks. And so he's coming up with some kind of a rotation scheme. Maybe it's Tom Tillis votes against one of them. Maybe it's Joni Ernst votes against one of them. Maybe somebody else votes against one of them. The thinking is they can probably get rid of 4, and that includes Matt Gaetz. But you don't want always to have the same senator, because that opens them up to too much fury from the MAGA crowd.
Well, in the emerging cabinet of the absurd, conformity will be an admissions requirement, because in the naive new world ahead, much like the Old West in the past, anyone stepping out of line will be dealt with appropriately.